Camera 2, rolling. Video's back. Question number 1 for Don't Stay Gone. What is the meaning behind this song? Well, I won't get too pompous about it. This is a love song. There's not a whole lot more to say. It's just about a girl that you like. That's all. Pretty straightforward. Those of you that know me personally know the story behind this song, but I'll tell it to you anyway. I was hanging out with this girl, I was dating this girl, and she told me, it was, I think, January at that point. She told me, hey Max, I just got a job in Alaska. And I said, Alaska's really far away. That's great, but it's really far away. What are you doing? She said, oh, I'll be cooking for a village kind of fishermen. It's one of these fishing islands in Alaska, and the guys live there for the summer, go out, catch their fish, come back, do whatever. But my girlfriend is gonna live on the island as well, and she'll cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for these dudes, and that's the job for the whole summer. And I was like, wow, wow, that's really great. So you're gonna go about as far away functionally as you can, and you're gonna live on an island of like the manliest men I can think of for a whole summer. And you're gonna assume traditionally a wifely role for these men. This was a very grand test of my own security, both in my masculinity and my relationship in general, because that was like, wow. Okay. I mean, what? It's not like you're married to me. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't say, oh, you're not doing that. That's ridiculous. She went, and the ultimate sentiment was, I get it. It sounds like a cool thing to do. I'd love to go hang out in Alaska. And both me and this girl were always like, we want to see the world. And we're like, well, go do what you must. Go as far as you want. As long as you're coming back, and you're coming back to me, I guess I don't care. Go as far as you want, but don't stay gone. That was the idea, and I wrote the song from there. That's what that was. Pretty easy. So I had this idea for the song. Go as far as you want, but don't stay gone. And one night I was leaving this same girl's house. She went to bed, I was going home, and this melody just kind of popped into my head. The chorus melody. What would end up being the chorus melody just kind of popped into my head. I made a quick little voice note on my phone of me humming it, and I just kind of wrote from there. I paired that up with my idea, the theme of loving somebody but not wanting to, commandeer their life. Go do whatever you gotta do as long as you come back to me. And I paired that with my melody, and this song didn't fight me. This song didn't really fight me very much. Came pretty naturally. I had been at that stage of my life. I had been playing and listening to a lot of like Sinatra, Bobby Darin era stuff. There's a lot of really cool chord progressions in that era. When you sit down and you try to learn it on the piano, or on any instrument I suppose, you kind of like, oh wow, there's some pretty cool ideas here, melodically, with the chord progressions, and it, despite how straightforward and almost generic a lot of it starts to sound now in the modern era, a lot of my friends are like, that stuff's super boring. It's not. Eh. I get it. I get what you mean, but there's a lot of surprising, interesting twists in the chord progressions of those songs. I'm learning how to play, "Come Fly with Me," "Beyond the Sea," "Mac the Knife," and there's some cool things that go on in a lot of those songs. And while I was doing that, I thought I would really like to write a song that would kind of fit into this era of music. So I had my theme, I had my idea, I had my melody, and I had a feel that I wanted the song to have. And you just kind of surround the whole idea of the song. I've got you flanked. There's nowhere to run. I have a melody. I have an idea. I have a concept. And you surround it and you just close in and you come out on the other side with a song. So I'd saved this for kind of late in the album recording process because I knew this was going to be relatively straightforward. Similarly to writing the song, this one was pretty simple. And instrumentally speaking, yeah, it's just drums, bass guitar, piano, vocals, and a trumpet solo. There's no fancy organs going on, there's no extra percussion, there's no harmonies. This is a very easygoing tune instrumentally. So, this was actually the only time in the whole album where I recorded the drums. The final take, the take we used in the song, was the first take. Only time it happened the whole album. I sat down. I'd set aside the whole session for recording the drums because believe me, these things get away from you. And did the first take. We listened to it, and I was like, I don't know. Sounds pretty freaking good to me. And Rob, the guy running the studio, was like, yeah, I agree. And I said, well, let's go ahead and record it again. And he said, what for? What do you want to fix? I don't know. I just feel like I should. Like, there's no need for that. Yeah. We moved right along with that. The bass guitar was played by Mark Stickford. He shows up a couple times on the album. And it's actually like a traditional upright bass. I always wanted it to be that, but I wasn't sure how we were going to get one. And things are expensive. And a lot of people don't have them just sitting around. But somebody had come into the studio, with Rob's studio in Enon, and they said, hey, I've got this upright bass. I'm going to sell it. Is it okay if I just leave it here while I look for someone to sell it to? And of course, Rob was like, yeah, whatever, just put it in the corner. And I was like, Rob, could we use that for just a song? So right there on the spot, he called up the guy, and the guy said, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Ask him if he wants to buy it. Of course, I didn't want to buy it. I kind of did, but I didn't have the money for it. But Mark came in, and we zipped right through there. I coached him through a couple of sections on what I wanted. He played that beautifully. Put that in. It has a real nice sound to it. If you get in there and you isolate, since it was an old upright, we couldn't just plug it in. So there's just a mic sitting right in front of the strings. You can really hear the finger movement, and there's a little bit of the wood creaking, and I think it gave it a really nice effect, which is what I was going for. The trumpet solo, recorded by Taylor McFarland, who recorded the trumpets for Faded City Lights. He was in school at the time. He was at Bowling Green State University working on a doctorate. I think he still is, actually. And it's not even music related, that doctorate. He just happens to be really good at the trumpet. And I sent him the file. I kind of played the solo on the piano and I kind of wrote it in MuseScore, which that's a whole other thing. Writing for the trumpet, if you've never done that before, it's tricky. I wrote it out and he said, yeah, I think I could do this, but I'm pretty busy with school. and Bowling Green was like almost 3 hours away. I wasn't gonna ask him to back and forth like that. So I just said, I'll come up to you. You practice it up there whenever you have spare time. And when you think you're ready, let me know. I'll come up and record it. So eventually he did. He said, Max, I think it's showtime. So I load up the car, I grab my microphone and drive up there. We go to one of the practice rooms in the Bowling Green State University Music Education Hall. We practice the solo a couple times, and then I just hold the microphone in front of him. He puts on the headphones, listens to the song, plays the solo. We play it over and over and over again because ultimately we spliced together, that part of that take, that part of that take, and we played it until his lips like genuinely gave out. He's like, I physically can't play it anymore. And I said, well, I think we got enough anyway. And I was right. We put it together. I love what he did on that solo. I think it turned out really well. I think the whole song turned out pretty well. I think I got that feel that I was looking for. And the guys that played the parts, Mark and Taylor, and the guy in the studio, Rob, I think really helped put that song together and give it that feel that I was going for. So I think I knew while we were recording the song, I think the best way to do this lyric video is going to be something stop motion. And I think stop motion in the right atmosphere has that kind of warm, cutesy, comfortable feel that I wanted the song to have. And I also thought, well, lyrics, that's the important thing. I had to figure out a way to get words on the screen. And it's about traveling, kind of. Go as far as you want, but don't stay gone. So postcards was a pretty natural conclusion for me to come to. We had this giant map, just of the United States, a little bit of Canada and Mexico in there. We had that giant laminated map in the corner of my house. I swear we had one of the whole world. I wanted to do one of the whole world, but I didn't have a lot of postcards from places outside of the U.S., which go as far as you want, but as long as it's in the U.S., it doesn't have quite as good of a ring to it, But yeah, I used the postcards this is actually a very pleasant little feature. This girl, Claire, name's Claire, this girl that I'm with, we have this thing where whenever we go somewhere without the other person, we make sure to buy a postcard. We write on it, and instead of sending it, we just bring it back. Here's this postcard. So I had a lot of postcards that I bought for her, I bought for myself, family members, whatever. And I put them geographically where they were from, and I put the lyrics on the back. You can see on the back of a number of them, there's writing underneath the words, and that's, what was actually on the postcard. I'm not gonna let you read that, of course, but yeah, this one was fun, but I've never made a stop motion anything before. So I doubt it's actually, especially with smartphones, it's actually so much easier than I thought it was gonna be. Still really tough. But yeah, I just downloaded an app, and you take the picture, move it, take the picture, move it. We're only doing one scene, we're only doing postcards, no facial expressions, nothing like that. So easy as it's gonna get, it was still really tough. It's just a lot of things you don't realize about making a stop motion this or that. I was up in my bedroom, and I couldn't turn the fan on because I had a bunch of paper sitting everywhere. I was sweating pretty bad, especially because I'm underneath this spotlight that's on the map. It was tough. I was actually really exhausted. I was sweating by the end of it. But this one's good. I like the way it turned out. It was fun. So there's only 2 songs on the album that are directly and specifically about being in a relationship with a significant other. This and Darkness We See. Darkness We See is about when that relationship is going poorly. Don't Stay Gone is about when it's going well. So that is a unique portion there. This is the only song that has a true, honest to God trumpet solo. That's the only song that's got an upright bass in the recording process. And I do think the feel of this one is unique on the album. It's not very cutting. It's not super high energy like most of the album. It's really about the only time I feel like I was going for cute, going for just comfortable, just pleasant. Yeah, I would say this song's got a unique feel. There's really no other song on the album that's got the musical environment that this one does. And it's kind of a breather on the album. The end suite of Roman's song in Lock Up LA gets pretty intense. And the first 6 tracks, Faded City through Summer Blue, get pretty intense. So Don't Stay Gone and Edge of a Light were kind of like a breather before you got to the end of the album. That was kind of the idea there, and that paired with the general feel of the song and how we recorded it are part of what make this song unique.